You know, I always kind of resented Byron for being so charming and charismatic. The dashing explorer. And one of the first companions, too. Being the voice of caution is not a fun role to play. Always having to be the responsible one, the killjoy. The one who says, maybe that's too much. But sometimes it is too much.
It's not your fault, Al.
In this area, we have an especially weird problem. Something in one of the labs is going completely bananas and I can't shut it down because I'm not, well, you. Come find me when you're ready. What is it with the language libraries and bananas?
If the language of creation is a kind of melody, maybe that's why we respond to music the way we do. Because we recognize something that can't be expressed in any other way. And when we play music, we participate in something ancient, in an act of creation.
Come on, out with it. What's the problem?
I know you're very busy, but you need to pay more attention to what's happening. Everything's slowing down. People are losing track of the bigger picture.
They're still traumatized by New Alexandria.
It's more than that. When I organized the last expedition, I had real trouble finding volunteers. There's no enthusiasm for the outside world anymore. They want to look away from history, pretend there's no past and no future. I'm really worried, Athena.
Okay. I promise I'll look into it as soon as I'm done with this.
fun one, Kay.
I've known Byron since day one. I was the first to be born with upgrades from the original Soma design, and he was the first to volunteer to upgrade his existing body.
Yeah, he was a big supporter of upgrades. Deliberate evolution, he called it.
Athena and Cornelius were very kind to me, and so was Byron, but he also made fun of me. And oddly enough, that made me feel more like an equal than anything the others said.
Today, for the first time, I synthesized life. It was just a unicellular cyanobacterium, but the sheer complexity of even such a simple organism is breathtaking. Creating it from pure energy, I was filled with a sense of awe and majesty. A sense that what I was doing was sacred. It made me think about the enormous power of life. 2.5 billion years ago, these simple beings terraformed the entire planet, creating the oxygen that underlies the Earth's incredible biodiversity, wiping out thousands of other species, but making the future possible.
brain to think like that.
Good. Inside this lab, there's a machine. As usual, I have no idea what it is. Some sort of generator, if I had to guess. When Byron got stuck in the system, it went haywire. It's currently outputting enough energy to power all of New Jerusalem twice. As you can imagine, that's causing quite a bit of interference. You go in there and you switch it off. Shouldn't be hard.
The flame is not yours to wield, creature of clay. Touch it, and you will burn.
You know, dealing with this hyper-advanced technology is quite challenging enough without the place also being bloody haunted. When I said it was outputting enough energy for 2 new Jerusalems, I wasn't kidding. It really was. And no emissions of any kind. I'd have to run more tests, but it seems like a perfect power source. True, but that was user error. I think I could idiot-proof this thing, but I do take your point. Pellegrino once almost killed himself with a bucket.
What can I do for you? He blamed Byron for being headstrong and foolish, which I don't see it quite the same way, but it's easy to understand why the mayor would think that. It wasn't hard to convince him that we can't leave Byron behind, though. I hope so. He's always been annoyingly hard to get rid of. Why do you ask? I'm not opposed to technology. I'm just opposed to trying to dominate everything. We can be part of the planet's history without having to be its masters. He was the third to be born, after Athena and Eustathius. He was an important figure in New Jerusalem's early history, almost as important as Athena. But after she vanished, he faded into the background. I don't think anyone suspected he knew where she was. I didn't know him that well, but he was always very calm, very thoughtful, Everyone respected him. I do. Although I prefer the term interactive fiction. It's better at capturing what this art form really is. Storytelling, but with a completely different underlying structure. As a category, it's more equivalent to poetry or the novel, rather than, say, film. Anything else? It makes me wonder why people always think they know better than nature. He was in charge of planning New Alexandria. It was his mistake that led to the disaster. After that, he retired from public affairs and dedicated himself to his studies. Well, they've experienced a lot more hardship and tragedy than most of us. I think it's understandable that they choose to focus on their personal interests. You mean, am I unduly influenced by my experiences? Unable to imagine the better future Byron wanted because I'm too traumatized? Could be. But I'd like to think I'm a little more self-aware than that.
must yearn for a better world. Yearn for it with such intensity that your heart suffers. Keep your eyes on that distant vision even when you know that you may never reach it.
The honest philosopher is rewarded with poison. The hypocrite is rewarded with power.
my last return to New Jerusalem, I perused the latest artistic offerings and found myself deeply disappointed. There is nothing more despicable to me than an artist who pursues the appearance of morality. Moral art is trash, garbage, not even good enough to be used as wallpaper. If art is a religion, then morality is for those who want to be seen in church. True art is for those who believe. Art must be ecstatic, a work of revelation, created in pursuit of the truth, no matter where it leads. An artist must be an agent of chaos in times of order, and an agent of order in times of chaos.
After we talked about science fiction, Alex gave me a book. Her favorite book, a novel called Athena. It's not exactly what I'm used to reading, but it's pretty good. And it really made me wonder how we're going to be perceived if this project works out. Are we going to be mythologized? Is Alexandra going to be this distant mythical figure instead of the real, funny, human person that she is? It's hard to imagine that we'll all have been dead for hundreds of years. Man, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I don't want to die.
Let us consider the city. What is a city? It is not a gift from the gods, nor the product of nature. Unlike a mountain or a river, it is something that must be built through the deliberate arrangements of material by a mind imposing order on the world. And it is built to serve a purpose. To that end, it has roads and fountains and walls. And to the same end, it has laws and leaders. And though each city is built according to a different plan, all cities must serve their purpose, or they will fall and become ruins. Therefore, we may conclude that a city is also a kind of machine, constructed to improve the life of its citizens.
The philosopher Straton of Stagira had little respect for the gods, and instead placed his faith in Prometheus. Driven by hubris, he asked questions that must not be asked, and revealed secrets that should have remained hidden. It is said that for these offenses, he was put to death by the people of his city. Can you see the folly of his actions? Yet he was the one who broke their laws. Why do you judge them and not him? And who is to decide which laws are unjust? You? If the law is not obeyed, it is not law. And without law, there is only chaos. And yet one man's vice is another man's virtue. How will you make laws that lift up all and oppress none? Consider this as you approach the flame.
Well, that was surprisingly calm, given how aggressive Pandora has been elsewhere. I didn't think she'd even want to talk to you.
I've toyed with the idea that the entities might be epiphenomenal in some way. Instead of causing the changes in the system, maybe they just respond to them.